Alright, hello boys and girls, dads and moms out there doing a great job of homeschooling your child. Kudos to you. Welcome to Heroes Modern School Academy. This is 5th grade science and week number 11 part of the curriculum. So today we're going to be talking about force and work. Alright, we're going to be put some technical definitions around these concepts in physics or science. But specifically physics. This is going to be the physics aspect of our science class in elementary grade level 5. At the end of this lesson today, we are going to be expecting the student to be able to define what force is, state the major categories of force, and understand the direction components of force. What is force? When two objects interact, they both experience force. Each one exerts some force on the other. Now, the unit of force is the Newton, which was named after the person who started talking about it, Isaac Newton. And it is measured in terms of kilograms multiplied by acceleration. So force is going to have two components to it. It's going to have mass and acceleration. So 1 Newton force is the force required to give 1 kilogram mass and acceleration of 1 meter per second squared. And the question then is, what is acceleration? Well, we've learned about mass before. Mass is going to be how heavy an object is. But what is acceleration? Well, acceleration is going to be the rate of change of velocity. When we're talking about how quickly velocity can change for you, well, that's going to be acceleration. And you can appreciate that when you're driving a car around. So there are certain cars that can get to maybe 60 miles per hour within 5 seconds. There are other cars that can get to 60 miles an hour within 10 seconds. No matter how hard you press on the throttle, they're not just going to get to that velocity, that speed, that quickly. Well, the car that can get to the speed of 60 miles per hour within 5 seconds, for example, is going to have a higher acceleration than the car that can get to 60 meters or miles per hour in 10 seconds. So that's the concept of acceleration just explained for you, and it is measured in terms of meters per second squared. But then what is the concept of velocity, and how does velocity differ from speed? When we're talking about velocity in physics, we're talking about the rate of change of displacement, which is going to be distance in a particular direction. And that word displacement over there is what makes velocity different from speed. Velocity is going to be measured in terms of meters per second. It is similar to speed as well, but it's a little bit different. Now, speed is going to be the rate of change of distance in any given direction, and I am going to prove that to you in just a moment. So force has magnitude and acceleration. Now, we've walked our way to understand what acceleration is. It's going to be the rate of change of velocity. Velocity is going to be the rate of change of displacement or distance in a particular direction. But force is going to be equivalent to mass multiplied by acceleration. Now, there are two major categories of forces, though. There is something we call contact forces and action at a distance forces. Well, what's a contact force? A contact force occurs when an object touches another object physically. So that's going to be like you're trying to push something, or you're trying to pull an object. Or if there is a frictional force when an object rubs against another one. So push, pull, frictional forces are different types of contact forces. But what about action at a distance? Well, action at a distance will be when objects do not touch each other physically and they still experience some kind of a force. Well, that's going to be like a magnetic force, for example. That's going to be like an electrical force or gravitational pull. All right, so those are different kinds of forces. There is action at a distance force, or another one, contact forces. Then what about work? Well, work is done when force is applied to an object and that force makes it move in a certain direction. So there are three different aspects of work. There's got to be force, there has to be displacement, and then there's got to be a cause. If force is applied to an object but there's no movement, work is not done. And the unit of work is going to be called joules, pretty much like energy, but it is called joules as well. And work is going to be equivalent to force multiplied by displacement. 1 joule of work is the work done by a force of 1 Newton to cause a displacement of 1 meter. All right. So you got a couple of questions in here. How does force occur? Well, force occurs when an object interacts with another object. What's the formula for calculating force? Well, force is going to be equivalent to mass multiplied by acceleration. All right? You're standing in line and you're getting exhausted. Did you do any work? The answer, of course, is no. Why? Because there is no displacement. But a book is pushed off a shelf and it lands on the floor. Did the book do some work? The answer, of course, is yes. Why? Because there is displacement. What are the two major categories of force? Well, there is contact forces and then there are action at a distance forces. All right. Did you get that? I know there's a lot of content in what we talked about today, but just please go ahead and go through it over and over again from page number 30 to page number 31 and then page number 32. You are going to see that if you go over and over and over it again, all these things I'm talking about will stick to your mind. By the grace of God, God's going to help you. All right. So this is what we got today, boys and girls. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, God cares about you and so do we. Until next time, remember, God loves you. Bye-bye.
I'll be your hero's buddy, and as you study with heroes born.